a turbo ZX-14R. Long story short, I'm slowly kind of converting it to where I can run at half-mile events. I've talked to a few other shops and a few buddies of mine, and they're enjoying a lot of half-mile stuff. And quite honestly, I ran a couple of half-mile things recently, and I enjoyed the half-mile. It was pretty fun, honestly. You get to kind of stretch the legs a little bit longer on some of these bikes, and it's pretty entertaining. So long story short, I'm changing my setup. I'm also making it a little bit more reliable. What do I mean by being reliable? It's a race bike. Good question. So, reliable. So, what I've done on this bike, I made it insanely light. If you follow some of the roll race community, some people do, some people don't. But on EJR's podcast, we were talking about how light my bike was. And now it is a turbocharged ZX-14R. And it weighed in at 423 pounds on Evan's scales. And honestly, there was more stuff that I was looking to delete, but I also was kind of, what I had to do is I had to take a step back and ask myself, like, what is the purpose? Like, what am I building this bike for? Am I building it just to say I have the lightest turbo 14R? Not the lightest, I'm sorry, but like at least in this roll racing community, you know, am I building it for that reason? Like, what am I really going after here? So I had to take a step back, and what I learned about it, and when I really started thinking about that question, it was like, man, all I want is I just wanted a turbo 14 that I could drive around. That's how all of this freaking started. I really just wanted a turbo 14 street bike that I could just drive around to bike nights and stuff like that, and have fun, and also take it to the track and run some good times on it, right? That was the original like thought process on this build years ago, right? Like 4 or 5 years ago when I first started getting into it. So, and it kind of slowly just got to where it was now. So, long story short, I thought about it, and that's why I decided, I had it on a 16-volt system as well. So I decided to backtrack actually a little bit, and I'm deciding to add weight back into the bike to make it more streetable and more reliable, meaning I can flip the switch, turn the bike on, go take a rip, come back, and then basically do minimal things to it to ensure my next pass or something like that. And also, it would be a bike that I could take to a bike night or someplace like that on a Wednesday night or Thursday. It's very popular down here in Florida. We have bike nights almost every day of the week. So, and it would be good PR to, you know, to go out there with the bike with a Turbo 14 that's also the same as a drag bike. You know, I mean, that would get a lot of attention, and it would be pretty cool. So, here's where we're at. So what I've done, I went back and reinstalled my charging system. I have a stator now and a rectifier, and it's back on a 12-volt system. And now I do have an air shifter, obviously, and I have the drag rear sets. I don't know what I'm going to do about that as of yet. I think I'm going to leave that the way it is right now. I mean, it is pretty simple to swap out some rear sets. I might get an aftermarket set that's more streetable, to where I can just swap them in and out fairly quickly. So that is part of it. But for the most part, and the only other thing that I really need to do next is I'm going to reinstall the radiator and the cooling system with a cut radiator and a fan. So I think with that setup, I should be able to ride, at least at night. I should be able to get this thing to and from the bike nights and stuff like that, but we'll see. I am also on a drag shock, which that really sucks when you start hitting some holes here and there. That thing takes a hit, and you feel it. So I'm also not, I also have a fuel cell. Now I think about it, I'm still on the fuel cell. I'm an idiot. I would have to change that all out because that's a 1-gallon fuel cell. So we'll see, guys, we'll see. I don't know how much further back I'm gonna do. I got Lewis here with me now, but I don't know how much further, how many, I don't know how to word it, but how many paces back I'm gonna take on the bike, really, where I say, all right, like I want it just like this. I want it like as a race bike or something like that. I don't know. I change my mind quite often, but all in all, the main focus on this bike is to where I can race it. It's going to be a lot more reliable racing it, and there's a lot less stuff that I have to worry about. So a question that you guys might be thinking, or a question that I might get from this, and I'll answer it now, which is, why did I go to a 16-volt system? Because that's what it was on previously before this 12-volt system. Why would you go to a 16-volt system? And quite honestly, the answer is weight. I was gung-ho about shedding a lot of weight on this bike. I got really excited when I did the rear subframe on it, and you know, things just kind of, I did the subframe, I did the fuel cell, I had a lithium battery, a lot of things. I started deleting a lot of things. I deleted the ABS system, I deleted the brakes, and I did the carbon wheels. So I was on this huge mission to shave weight on this bike. And obviously I did. I shaved a ton of weight. I shaved like over 160 pounds or something from factory. I think they're like 580 from the factory. So yeah, I mean, something like that. I shaved off a ton of weight on the bike, and you know, and still having it turbocharged. I'm like, that's pretty cool. But long story short, guys, every single race, what you have to do, or not every race, but once every probably couple races, you got to throw the bike on the charger. I got to put a fan on it. I need to got Lewis over here skating on a dog. Nice. So after every race, not only do you have to charge the bike, you got to put it on a fan, you got to check the fuel. So it was just a hassle, guys. Honestly, it's just a hassle. So, but that's my bike. We're working on it. We're reverting it back to some of the other stuff. Besides the shop ZX-10, this is another one that, you know, I've been working on. I've had this one for a few years now, just as a side project. Off and on, I go back to it, just keep messing with it. So I love this bike. I'll never get rid of it.
Perfect.
I talk about it, but I don't think I can.
That's the OG burger right there.
Well, and the other thing, like, I started realizing when I looked at the bike, I'm like, bro, who the f is gonna buy this? Like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, dude, this thing is so gone through.
It's not really clapped out though.
I mean, no, but it's not someone else's style.
You could clean it up a little bit.
Well, the wiring, yeah, I agree. The wiring could get cleaned up. That's again, we were rushing through it.
It's not a customer bike.
Yeah, and honestly, I didn't really care. Like, to me, I'm like,
as long as it works,
who gives a shit? You know. Now, again, I know that's like an extra like couple ounces of weight, but that's what I'm getting at. I'm like, I don't give a f. So I'll never forget. I forgot who told me, but I'll never forget when they said, they were like, who gives a shit about making it lighter? Just make it faster, you know? And now this was years ago, before the lightweight thing was like a rant and rave thing, how popular it is now.
It does help.
But I know it does help. But I remember him, I don't remember now. But we were also, back then, we were dealing with cars.
Make more power.
Well, back then it was about cars. I think it was Jose.
Probably.
And he went, but see, back then it was a 200 horsepower car was fast or quick. You know, that was like pretty quick back in the day. 200 all motor, that was like, all right, that's moving for a little four cylinder, little shit boxes, 4 cylinders.
Yeah.
That was pretty fast. So, but I remember we went from 200 to like 550.
And then to 7.
And then it just went, it went up from there. But yeah, so he was the one that was really like, who cares about making it lighter? Because he used to be like that. He used to have an all motor car.
Oh yeah, he never did weight. He just added power every time.
Well, no, at one point he did. He started taking the seats out and shit.
Oh yeah, but
he started gutting it.
That's after the 500 though.
Right. So then he made a lot more power, and then race, because we mainly street race back then. That was like all we did with street race.
Like 8 on the world's fastest.
Yeah, and now he's got one of the fastest RSXs in the world. But he did go back to shaving weight and everything. But again, that's why we do a little bit of both. Basically, was what it was coming down to. I don't mind adding a little bit more weight to the bike.
But we did all start with wiring though. That little bit of wiring was just like that because that was when we first got it. Just rush, throw it together, and go from there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly. Yeah. We were just trying to get it. Like, we were like, oh, just want the air shifter hooked up. Like, we weren't thinking about shaving weight originally.
We weren't thinking about looks either. It's all
yeah.
Anyway.
It was all underneath the plastics. Yeah. So whatever.
Now it's like, all right, that's got to change.
Yeah.
Even though it's covered, you can't deal with that.
Yeah. I mean, I do. I look at it all now, and I'm like, all right.
We've also been working on this bike for 6.5 years. Almost 5 years, 6 years.
Something
probably
like
6
that.
years now.
Yeah,
This will be year 6.
Yeah, this will be year 6.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That I've had this piece of shit.
You say that, but you've never went through a motor with it.
I will say that. So,
and
and this motor, oh my God, I forgot about that. This motor is like this motor is like a junkyard motor. I bought it off of a guy who
blown up.
Yeah, well, no, it wasn't blown.
Oh, this was the, okay, yeah.
No,
yeah,
the replacement motor.
Yeah.
So, okay, the original bike, yes, I bought it with a blown motor, but the motor, it was like destroyed. Like it was grenaded. And no, so I bought a junkyard motor for this bike. I asked the guy, how many miles? I don't know. What? I don't know. I'm like, great. That's quite a predicament now. These motors aren't cheap. These motors are like $4 grand, $5 grand. So I'm like, dude, that's a lot of money. So after talking with the guy for a while, he didn't have any history on the bike or anything, on the motor, nothing. So we went through it all. We struck a hell of a deal. I think I got it for like $2,000. And quite honestly, all I did was clean the head, clean the block. I put a new head gasket in it. I put I don't even remember what I did. I think I got the valve seats. I think I cut the valve seats or something. And then I did the oil mods, the clutch mods. I did all of that, and then that was it. And I slapped this bitch together and was like, let's see what it does.
5.5 years.
And that was 5 years ago. Since then, it's gone through race gas, MR12, nitrous, a lot of race gas, like 2.5 years of straight MR12. No, 3 years of MR12, and then it went to turbo, and now I'm turbo with leaded gas, basically, and that's it. So, and this thing is still ticking. And there's been, I don't know, probably 8 or 9 instances where I'm like, I blew it up. This is blown. This thing's I'm done, and it starts right back up.
Sounded good at two-step. That's just
an item. That's Garrett though. Like that's Garrett. That's the dual ball bearing. You know, like that's Garrett. That's Garrett, dude. They just sound so good.
My 1000 sound like real whiskey.
You had a dual ball bearing
with
an 11 blade, so that's why I had a different sound than this. Yeah. This is a 7x7.
Okay.
So turbo stuff, 11 blades. So he had an 11 blade. This is a 7x7, meaning there's 7 blades. They're kind of stacked. They're staggered or stacked, however you want to say it. So one day we'll go over all that shit too. That's it. I'm glad you brought that up. We can talk about some of that. He loaded this tank on a motorcycle lift. So anyway, it was working okay for a little bit, and then the lift
don't make fun of my idea, right?
Greasing.
So yeah.
Oh my god.
Make fun of me. So it worked. I had all the wheels off of it. And then it didn't work.
Oh my
It
god.
just stopped working.
That's like bent.
Yeah, we're stuck right now. I had to put the wheels back on. All right, we're gonna film this.
All right.
Let's see how this goes. Go ahead, Lewis.
Oh, I'm so worried.
Is it going at all? I don't see
It-
the movement yet.
Oh boy.
Is it? Yeah. That's all the way.
Oh, hold on. Stop. There you go. All right, slowly drop that bitch.
I mean, if you go fast, it'll be a better video.
Oh, I think it's bent even more.
I bet you we can
I
hit
bet,
the hammer.
yeah, I bet once he lifted, it bent it.
And by the way, he's got a broken control arm on this side.
Yeah, look at it.
There she goes. Damn, she bent.
That's how you arch, ladies.
Oh my
Look
lord.
at that side step, dog. Look at that side step. That's that
Yeah.
crawl.
We have this beautiful Gen 3 Busa on the dyno currently. It's got a full Voodoo exhaust, and I believe that's about it. It's an older gentleman. He just enjoys kind of cruising around, if you will. So we're just gonna give him a really good, really nice, clean street map. And we got over here. Lewis is finishing up a quick shifter install, and basically we're doing some maintenance on this 14R. We're installing a Heel Tech quick shifter and plugs. What else? I forgot. He's got a handful of things going on. Oh, we're also gonna check his map on the dyno and see if he needs it touched up. Again, another older gentleman. He just likes to go on cruises and whatnot, so he's not looking for a ton of power. He just wants a few little goodies installed, along with, again, just kind of cleaning up what he already has. So we'll see. We're going to get on the dyno and test it. Another thing we made some progress on, and excuse the mess, it's very messy. We have been going nonstop. Normally, I'm much cleaner than this, but this is the reality of a busy shop too. But anyway, we made some progress on the Gixxer here. We've got the new swing arm in. We are getting the mounting figured out for the oil pump, for the scavenge pump for this turbo kit. So But we do have the new swing arm in. It is installed. We're getting different lowering links as well, so we can drop it a little bit lower. It's gonna sit a little tall right now, so we've got some lowering links on the way to help with that. Hopefully it gets it pretty low. So he wants it pretty low, and he wants it pretty slammed. So, and another thing I'm really excited to show you guys, the theft recovery bike. It looks so good. It's coming together very, very nicely. Lewis has been putting in a lot of hard work to get this thing to where it is now. A couple of little things that I want to point out to you guys. We have a new Road 6 tire on the front, mounted and balanced. We do have his air ducts now. We got the radiator, the coolant. Oh, actually, I forgot to mention. So after installing a bunch of this stuff, we went to go bleed his coolant out, and he's got a little pin-sized hole on the radiator somewhere, and it is actively leaking. That's kind of why Lewis has some of these rags and everything out here. We have this catch to make sure that it's not on the floor so nobody slips and falls here. But yes, the tail section's coming together very nicely. The tank's all on. The bike does run. We're waiting on the slip-on exhaust. That should be here very soon. He was thinking about getting new plastics, and because obviously the old ones, they're a little bruised up. They have some scuffs on them, and a couple of them have some little finite cracks in it. So just to give you an idea, here's what his fairings look like. And honestly, this camera makes it look a lot better than what it actually is. But this thing's gonna need some pretty serious detailing. So we're gonna detail it out. He wants to get new fairings eventually, but I think once we clean these up, I think he'll be pretty happy with the results. I mean, now granted, some of these are really cracked up, but you know, some of them are actually split. But you know, you can see you could get an idea how dirty, how filthy they are. So that one had a crack in it when he brought it over to us, and there's also a couple of pieces missing off. Yeah, this one has a chunk here that we're missing right there in the corner. So you know, he knows that there's some love that needs to be put into the bike, but he just said he'll do it once he gets everything back and running. Other than that, she's almost ready to leave the shop, be honest with you. We got a Lewis is starting to break down a 14 motor, and we are getting ready for a rebuild process on this one, and he's currently in the middle of it, so we're gonna leave him be. It's not going to be anything crazy on that build, but we are going to do a couple of cool things on it. We got a high compression piston. We're going to fix the head. We actually, well, let's take you guys through this. This is kind of cool. So this, I forgot, what did he come in for? Do you remember what the original? Transmission. Tranny, that's right. So he had a tranny issue. He said something happened with his transmission, but long story short, so here's the cylinder head here. So as you can tell, we have some scrape marks all right here, which is a clear indication that somebody was in here before. There's a little bit of gouging, and long story short, this cam cap here was actually snapped. So we're not really sure what happened, and you can see here we have scarring, a little bit of scarring here. We do have some abnormal wear right here on the cylinder head. So we're gonna have to, really, I wanna take this to the machinist and see what they come back with and tell us what the damage is and what's going on with it. But we also have some scoring on this one as well. So we're gonna take this over to the machinist and see what they say, but there's definitely some scoring along these front, well, closer to cylinder 4, I should say, cylinder positions, where the camshaft sits inside of the cylinder head here. So I want to show you guys some of the destruction though on this thing. So I wanted to show you guys this. This is wild, the kind of shit you see. He never told us that he had a running issue. He just said that it had a transmission issue, which is kind of crazy, seeing what we just saw in the cylinder head. So here is his cam cap. I mean, I'm surprised the motor wasn't seized up. Yeah, like, I mean, dude, if it's not sitting proper, well, I mean, I guess everything is torqued down and it's connected, but you can see, well, look. So look, this is perfect. Look, right here. So you see right here, that's where the camshaft was rubbing into it. You see how it's gnarled up right there? And you can see some wear inside here in the cylinder head as well. So the cam was literally riding up. This was definitely an issue when this broke. Something must have happened to this.
There was shavings in the
Yeah, that makes sense. And look, we also have it right here too. So the camshaft was definitely not center. It was not sitting the way it needed to be sitting. That's why we have all the scarring. So we have shavings inside of here. Yep, you can see it there. So we have abnormal wear. We got some scarring in there. So same thing here. A very, very clear, evident line here where we had some damage occur. So anyway, we're gonna at this point, yeah, he might need a new cylinder head, honestly. So the cam caps are machined to your cylinder head from the factory. So yeah, so with that much damage, and there's most likely there's gonna be damage all on those camshafts as well. That's something that we're gonna take off to the machinist, but more than likely we're probably gonna be replacing this head. But we'll see. We'll see what the machinist says. And another update on the Aprilia, guys. So we got another tuning programmer for it. We're having an issue with it recognizing the actual VIN now on the ECU. So what we were told is we need to take it to the Aprilia dealership so we can input a VIN number onto this ECU. And once we get the new VIN number on it, then we can proceed with the tuning process. So that's where we're gonna go with it. That's gonna all happen here in the next week. And then we had the ZX-14R. This is what Lewis was working on earlier this week. We had the quick shifter install, Heel-Tech quick shifter install, and plugs and a couple of other little odds and ends. He's thinking about doing some more modifications. We might be putting this one on the dyno and retuning it. We'll see, or tuning it, I should say. We'll see. Oh, and this beast. So we ended up tuning this thing this week, and this is a C109 RT. This is a Suzuki Boulevard. Kind of like an M109, but more the cruiser style. But yes, we actually can tune these also. We did a full tune on this. It made like 97 horsepower with like 110 foot-pounds of torque, which is really impressive for a 2008 V-twin motorcycle. So we did tune that one. We had a couple of bikes roll in here. We had this R6. We just did a few maintenance items, fixed a few little odds and ends. She had a high idle and a few other odds and ends. And then this is the bike that also, it got dropped to us recently. I think it was from South Carolina or North Carolina. Real nice guy. He's in for an engine rebuild. So we're gonna start this. This one we're actually gonna be starting in about 2 weeks. So he's well aware of it. We've already told him we're a little bit behind. He just wanted to get it dropped off. So yeah, guys, that's about it right now. You know, thanks for the support. We really appreciate it. You know, thanks for viewing. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for the feedback. For those of you who don't follow us, if you could, I'd really appreciate it if you did. It means a lot to us. Helps the channel grow. It helps us show you guys more information. Helps us help teach you guys. That would be awesome. And but yeah, thanks for following us. If you could, give us a like, a follow, and a comment. And yeah, we'll see you guys on another episode.